So welcome to Young Americans Abroad, our weekly soccer report. My name is Austin Van Churn.
My name is Patrick Ferry.
And welcome to our show. So we're back finally, after we had to take another week off. I got sick this time, so...
Traded roles.
Yeah, unfortunately we weren't able to post last week, but we're here again this week, and we have a lot to talk about, a lot of performances to discuss, and, we're ready to get this content again to you guys.
And we're going to be a weekly soccer report, don't worry. We're not going to be bi-weekly, right?
Yeah,
Austin?
we're not bi-weekly, even though we've been bi-weekly, but, we're excited, and let's get into it. Yeah. So we want to start off today talking about a matchup that happened last week, and that was the matchup between Newcastle United and Manchester United. So, Pat, what did DeAndre Yedlin do in that game? And how did he look?
DeAndre Yedlin, what didn't he do in that game? He did everything defending-wise. He got forward and he went against toe-to-toe with one of the best players in the Premier League, Alexis Sanchez.
Yep.
So that was really exciting to see him put on a good performance, because in the first episode I was talking about Leroy Sané torching DeAndre Yedlin. So it's good. It's good for him to really help solidify that win for Newcastle and move them up to 13th in the table. Yep. Get them a little safer from that relegation zone. So that was exciting to see.
Yeah. He also had a nice piece of skill, I think, in that game.
Where that's right.
He put Alexis Sanchez on the ground.
Yeah, it was exciting. You were saying everyone was talking about that on Twitter. It was a big highlight. It was like almost like a kind of Cruyff, nice skill move there. So it was that was beautiful piece of skill by Yedlin, and hopefully can keep performing like this for Newcastle as we finish up the Premier League season here. Yeah,
it seems like he plays better when he's challenged more.
Yeah.
It feels like. It might not be the case, but I just feel like every time I hear of him doing well, it's against a bigger club. But we could do some more research into that. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, but it does kind of take you back to even way back when we were in the World Cup. Yeah. And he performed so well that, against Belgium. Right.
Against Eden Hazard,
Yeah, and company. Players like that.
Player on the planet.
Yeah, almost maybe not exactly similar to Sanchez, but just those really skilled, quick, intelligent footballers he's playing against, and being able to hold his own was extremely exciting to see. Yeah.
So now moving to a league below the Premier League, and that's the Championship. So, Pat, how did Anthony Robinson do this weekend?
Yeah, so Anthony Robinson got another 90 minutes under his belt. The past two weekends he's been playing 90 minutes, but it's unfortunate that Bolton has lost both of those games. Most recently, this 2-0 loss, so it puts them down to 20th in the Championship. So that's a tough hole to climb out of, but... at least he
still above relegation, though.
Still above relegation, and he is getting a chance to. They really need defense now at this point. He's getting a chance to start and get consistent minutes, and hopefully that'll be enough. Obviously, one player isn't the whole team, but that'll be enough to keep them safe and be in the Championship there. But besides that, it was pretty quiet weekend for Anthony Robinson. None of his crazy assists, which he's been getting.
Yeah, he has gotten a lot of assists recently.
Yeah,
it feels like,
it definitely feels like.
This week,
but pretty calm. He didn't get substituted. Looked decent. It really was. They actually got a red card in this most recent game. Okay. I think in the beginning of the second half, so that kind of put them on the back heel there. So there really wasn't much that Anthony Robinson could do going forward, which we know he uses his pace and crossing ability to get forward. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. So then we want to move on now to Cameron Carter-Vickers, another player in the Championship. So how has CCV done, at Ipswich Town this weekend?
Yeah, again, another American defender playing in a 3-5-2, similar to Bolton there for Ipswich Town, which we mentioned before. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they drew 1-1 to Norwich. Okay. Norwich got a goal in the 95th minute. But besides the fact, Cameron Carter-Vickers had a very good game. Looked really dominant on the ball, playing good passes, key passes out of the back, and got a lot of praise. I saw from managers and even on Twitter. So, you always check Twitter for the praise there. So it's exciting to just see him fill in, again, like we mentioned, just kind of come into this team and really solidify a starting spot in the back there.
Yeah, it's been impressive. I'm happy to see that, especially after, like we talked about last time, the Sheffield United loan did not end well. So it's good to see him playing games.
A really positive sign, and hopefully a good back for the future there for the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really high on him. So I think he's got, everything to make
wonder what his FIFA strength is.
Yeah, right? He's a big boy. Really, really big boy.
But, switching gears to, the Bundesliga here, Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah, have to talk about Pulisic here.
Yeah, the prodigal son.
Prodigal son.
Yeah, so Christian Pulisic played in 3 games over the past 2 weeks. And the first game was against Hamburg, where Dortmund won 2-0, and Pulisic actually had an assist to Michy Batshuayi.
Oh, Bats.
Yeah, the Batsman. So he had a nice, grounded cross into the box that Michy finished at the back post. It's a pretty nice play.
That was good vision by him, just to a nice firm ball right across
it looked
the box.
It looked like a pass. Some people thought it might have been a shot or just like a real errant cross or, just not a well-placed cross. But
let's go with the pass, right?
Yeah, it looked to me that he picked out Michy and was, meaning to pass that ball where he did. So I think he played pretty well in this game. He had a few other opportunities to score a goal. There was another chance that he missed wide over the net from maybe 5 feet away. It was pretty
tough
bad
to see that.
Yeah, but I mean it was a fastball that was coming into him. He didn't really have much time to think and react. So
they got the win, right?
Happens. Yeah, and they got the win. So I think he played pretty well in that game. And then their game against Atalanta later on in the week, Christian Pulisic played 84 minutes in, and they got the 3-2 win in extra time on a nice goal by again Michy Batshuayi.
He is just Dortmund's savior.
Yeah. So he played all right in this game. He looked a little disjointed at times. Missed a few chances to score. I know I saw early on in the second half, I believe, there was a chance he had in the box that he kind of just waited too long, took a shot at the wrong time. Yeah. So it wasn't the best performance from Pulisic all season, but Dortmund got the win. Again, that's what matters, and he played 84 minutes, so he got the start.
And then just kind of a little more about Pulisic. What do you think? What do you think about just the inconsistencies there, just in general? Is it I know you mentioned a lot him not being decisive enough, or just that final third. Are there a few things you think that might be just lacking right now? That he's just is it something mentally maybe? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think he might just be kind of in a little bit of a sophomore slump.
That's a good
obviously, that's easy to say. But I think he's kind of been thrust into this main role for Dortmund this year and hasn't really been challenged, from week to week in order to start.
Almost complacency, would you say?
A little bit complacency, I think. I hate to say that because he's someone who's very driven. Obviously, we've seen that with the national team. Someone who's always trying to perfect his game. But at the same time, I think he might have gotten a little too comfortable in the Dortmund team. And I think his play's kind of suffered this season. But now, Dortmund have a lot of players coming back from injury. Andre Schürrle has been playing really well recently.
Right, yeah.
He's gotten
your
more
boy Götze?
Yeah, my boy Götze. Yeah, he's looked really good recently. And then also Marco Reus is finally
that's
back
true.
from
That's
injury.
Huge.
So hopefully he can stay healthy. But Pulisic will have to compete with those guys now for minutes, including other players like Andrei Yarmolenko.
Oh yeah,
although he's out, I think, right at the moment. But that'll give him some more competition, like we've been saying, and hopefully it'll up his game maybe a little bit more. And also playing with some of those players. Obviously, Marco Reus, I think, is the best player on Dortmund's team when he's healthy. So if Pulisic could be on the field at the same time with him, a Götze who's starting to look more and more like his old self, I think that'll help him out, along with Batshuayi, who's really taken to Dortmund and has become, I hate to say it, but I think he's kind of better for Dortmund right now than Aubameyang was. Even though Aubameyang was a very good striker, still is a good striker now at Arsenal. I do like what Batshuayi brings. He brings more of that hold-up game, something that Aubameyang really never brought. And I think that could really help Christian Pulisic's game as well. So it'll be interesting to monitor, his situation now, like we said, with all those people coming back. Sure. But he also played this past weekend against Gladbach, although he came off the bench, played 16 minutes at the end of their 1-0 win. Didn't really see too much of him in that game. I was busy at the time, but
But he's
I heard he really didn't, do anything crazy in those 16 minutes. But again, Dortmund got the win, which is important for him.
And he usually hasn't been, he has been starting. So that was, the first time in a while he's come off the bench there.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal just because he played 84 minutes in that midweek game against
That's true.
Atalanta, which was on a Thursday. This game was on a Sunday.
Right, the Europa League messes up a lot of team schedules there. But.
Yeah, and Dortmund kind of rotated their squad in that game as well. So I wouldn't panic just yet about him missing playing time. But again, like we've been saying, he's kind of got to step it up now. Now's the time to really show that he's one of the best young players in the world. And an interesting statistic that I actually saw the other day is just to show kind of what kind of slump he's been in this year is that it's been 320 minutes per goal or assist this year that he's had. So he's gone 320 minutes in between, all 7 goals and assists that he's had this year, which is kind of telling of how dismal of a season, at least finishing, in the final third he's had. But he still has a lot of season left to play. Dortmund are second right now in the Bundesliga, also obviously in the Europa League.
Yeah.
And have a shot to maybe win that if they get things together.
That'd be good for the morale of the team, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know how good he is, so we're not too worried about him right now.
We're not worried about Pulisic.
No, but he's not one player I have to worry about. Although one player we might have to worry about because of recent performances, although it's not really his fault, but that'd be Keaton Parks, who I think the last 2 games he's lost. His team, Benfica B's, lost 5-1 in both those games.
Yeah, so obviously defensive work hasn't been great for them. But they just lost, like you mentioned, 5-1 to Real, SC. Not even really sure.
Okay. A team in the second division.
A team in the second division there.
Portugal.
But Keaton's played 90 minutes in both of those 5-1 losses. Hasn't been substituted. So maybe you can look at that as a positive. I don't know,
it's playing time. It's
again,
experience.
And just not to harp on it too much, but we hope to see Keaton Parks really pushing maybe next season for the first team there with Benfica. That'd be a huge step, and you can't just toil away in the second division forever. So hopefully we'll see Keaton make some kind of move, whether that's with Benfica or just really solidifying and making sure at this crucial period of his development to just get first team minutes in a higher division. So, and another player we want to talk about, another youngster that's finally got some Chelsea minutes in the FA Cup.
Yeah, after all those times he's been on the bench.
Yeah, right.
Finally mixes a
Finally, we got Kyle Scott there. So he played in a game against Hull City. Chelsea was in control, comfortable 4-0 win. He entered midway, through the second half there, I believe, for Fabregas.
And kind of somewhere in the 60th minute or something, in the 60s.
Yeah, in that general area. And so he kind of played next to Danny Drinkwater there in the midfield. Was more of that kind of deep lying or played back behind Drinkwater, playmaker in the midfield. He had one bad turnover I saw on Twitter that almost led to a goal.
Yeah,
it's right in the middle. A little lackadaisical ball, which was just nerves, for a young kid playing pretty highly coveted tournament for a huge club like Chelsea. Nerves can get you a little bit, but it was good to see him just getting in possession, a few passes there and forward with Willian there. So it was good to see him just kind of getting some minutes under his belt. So,
that's
good. We'll see where that goes from there, and hopefully Kyle Sky, I believe he's English-American.
Yeah, he's actually English, Irish, and also American. So he can play for all 3 of those national teams. And I think he's been in an Irish camp, an Ireland camp. I'm not sure if he's been in an English camp yet, and I believe he's been in an American camp.
Let's hope he stays American.
Let's see.
But another exciting youngster that just transferred from Atlanta United's academy Austin. I want to mention this. This is a huge highlight here. Yeah,
this is the first time we're going to talk about him too on the show. So that would be Zyen Jones, and it was just announced today after he's been training with Schalke over the last month and a half, 2 months.
Schalkamerica, right?
Yeah, Schalkamerica, yeah. But he will be signing with Schalke this summer when he turns 18, and that'll be in August. I believe his birthday is August 25th.
So And for a 17-year-old, not even 18, you talk about his physique and size, right?
Yeah, he's a very big physical striker. Also has some pace. Just really athletic all around. Especially for a 17-year-old. Like,
yeah, that's
6'1", 6 foot. Looks like.
Yeah, what were we at 17? Not that.
No, not at all. But that's exciting. Obviously, he hasn't had as much press as maybe Andrew Carlton or Chris Goslin or even someone like Lagos Kunga at Atlanta United. But he's been a player that's been in the fold there. He's also been in the fold for the U.S. U17 team.
Sure.
This past summer, he was involved in the CONCACAF qualifying, I believe, and he looked good in that tournament in the game time that he got. So it's exciting.
Yeah, must have impressed on trial with Schalke. So
yeah, and it just shows how kind of deep our pool is at that age. I feel like there's a lot of players who like Taylor Booth might be signing for Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
who
that's
didn't
another
play
good player. Yeah.
a big role in the U17 World Cup, even though he did play in that game against England. But it's another player who's going abroad, getting a contract with a very, very good team, and wasn't a starter really for most of that tournament. So yeah, we're excited for Zyen. He'll be playing for the U19 team at Schalke to start in the 2018-2019 season. Kind of like Haji Wright, Weston McKennie, and even Nick Tadagwe did recently. So that's
just joining
exciting.
a nice collection of young, talented Americans there.
Yeah, and let's hope we can emulate what Weston did.
Yeah.
Hopefully what Nick can do, and
definitely
maybe Haji. We'll see about Haji. We're gonna talk about him a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll
but now we want to segue into Kenny Saief now. So how has Kenny Saief been doing at Anderlecht?
Yeah,
recently?
so we can talk about, obviously, Kenny Saif's performances have been very good. He's definitely been the player for Anderlecht that stood out. Most, I would say, probably should be the man of the match for the awful overall team performances, because they have not won in a very long time. I believe they've had the last 2 games, 2 losses, most recently, this 1-0 loss, and the other 3 games before that, 3 draws. So in 5 games, they're winless. However, Kenny Saief, I was able to catch some of the game on the weekend, and he looked like a really strong, intelligent midfielder, playing really good balls, just interplay between the midfield, making smart runs, balls over the top, good crosses, just really and hustled a lot, kind of the epitome of what you look for in an American midfielder for the national team. Unfortunately, his Anderlecht team has been horrible, and that 1-0 loss against a team that hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, Skint-Truden. So
sounds good to me.
Sounds pretty good. Hopefully I got that one for you guys a little better than Eric Palmer Brown's team.
We worked on that. We're working on that.
We worked on that. But yeah, so Saief, again, the Anderlecht plays in that 4-2-3-1 formation. So Saief has a little room there on the flank to operate. Kind of interchanges. I actually saw him towards the end of the game move to the opposite side of the midfield. And maybe they were trying something else to get more possession, more offense there. But nonetheless, Saief has been impressive for the team. It's just really unfortunate to see Anderlecht in such a slump. Yeah,
because they're kind of the team that's dominated Belgium recently.
Yeah, right? Them and Bruges.
Weird to see. Yeah, but I would say even them more than Bruges.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been them kind of at the top, almost like a Bayern, almost.
But yeah, pretty much. So hopefully they can get it together, and Saif's part of that, kind of bringing that group together. Yeah. And we'll see where it goes from there. But moving back into the Bundesliga, you want to talk about a striker there? Yeah, so we want to talk about Bobby Wood. So Bobby Wood played 2 games these past 2 weeks, and the first game was against Dortmund, which he started, and Hamburg lost 2-0. And, he looked very disjointed in that game. I believe he was subbed out kind of midway through the second half. Hamburg obviously didn't score in that game. Bobby Wood had a few chances to score, maybe, but nothing that was, an out-and-out scoring opportunity that completely flubbed on. I was able to catch some of that game, actually, watch it pretty much towards the end, and Bobby Wood, it was just a disjointed, like you mentioned, but by the whole team. Nobody was really playing him good balls to run on to, just kind of get involved. It was more just Hamburg booting it up and him trying to win 50-50 challenges, and if he did, there wasn't many people around him because they're playing defensive. So kind of what I saw.
Kind of been the story all year. He hasn't had too much service, but again, anytime he was, Hamburg was in possession and he was looking for the ball, it just seemed like he was trying to create he's just pushing too hard to create opportunities to score. So it didn't look great. And then, this past weekend, Hamburg played Bayer Leverkusen and they lost again 2-1. And Bobby Wood was a second half sub in that game. So he came on. I believe he had an opportunity to score. Didn't score, obviously, in that opportunity. And looked kind of disjointed again from what I saw in the highlights. So, again, concerning stuff for Bobby Wood, especially since he didn't start this game this past weekend. Jan Fiete.
Oh, the young striker there,
Yeah, young German striker started in his place. So that's kind of concerning, especially since that's the first time that's happened with this new manager at Hamburg. So we'll keep monitoring that situation. Hopefully it changes, but has not looked good for Bobby Wood recently. So hopefully something here can jumpstart his career again. Yeah. Maybe time with the U.S. men's national team could do that.
Yeah, obviously, just like it did before.
With his career to start off. Maybe that's all he needs is a few good games with the U.S.
Exactly, just get that momentum going.
So, let's hope something happens here soon.
And then another player that also has had a tough time on loan. We'll talk about another part of the group of Schalkamerica.
And that would be Haji Wright at Sandhausen. So Haji Wright actually got a shock start this weekend in place for a player who was unable to start this weekend for Sandhausen due to illness at the last minute.
So this has been a good shot for him to really impress.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity for him to impress, maybe score, but unfortunately he was subbed off right at halftime. Didn't look too good from what I saw on Twitter. Kind of looked disjointed again in the attack. But this was his first game action actually since December 12th or December 2nd. So that's kind of concerning right there.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not good.
Just not getting those minutes. You wouldn't be surprised that he's a little disjointed and not really working as a cohesive unit with the team. Just not really, besides training, not the actual game time.
And what is even more concerning is his coach recently alluded to the fact that sometimes he doesn't try as hard in games and practices.
Don't want to see that mentality as a youngster.
Questioning his work ethic. So, that's kind of very concerning to me, especially from a young player who's on loan trying to prove himself. The fact that, he's not really going all in to prove his worth to the club is kind of concerning. But, he's still young, and the coach made a point of that he's still a very young player. He still has a lot of time to figure it out. So hopefully, this season at Sandhausen, he can get things turned around.
Come on, Haji.
Continue to create an opportunity for himself to get more playing time, and we'll keep monitoring his situation because he's a guy that we were excited about coming into this season.
Yeah,
we thought this was going to be a great opportunity for him to show himself and show his quality, but it looks like it hasn't really happened yet for him. So finally, we want to talk about one more striker in the Bundesliga.
On a positive note.
And that's a player who isn't technically in the Bundesliga yet, but will be this week, and that's Josh Sargent. So Josh Sargent will turn 18 this week.
Happy birthday, Josh.
Yeah, I believe his birthday is February 20th. And when he officially signs, he'll be playing with the U23 team at Werder Bremen. So hopefully he can impress there. He's already scored, I believe, in a friendly a goal and then also had an assist. So hopefully, he'll impress there and then potentially get called up to the Bundesliga. But we're kind of unsure of whether or not he can actually play in the Bundesliga this year.
Baby steps, right?
Due to the fact that he signed so late. So, if any of you guys have insight into that, I know a lot of people have talked about that on Twitter and it's been discussed heavily. But, reach out to us on Twitter or Instagram or even in the comments down below. If you have any inside knowledge on whether or not Josh Sargent could potentially play in the Bundesliga this year. But I think his goal for this year should definitely be playing with that U23 team in the 3 Liga. That's some good exposure for him. Some good
that's
experience.
A very attainable goal there, Austin.
And if he kills it there, then maybe we can work on bigger and better things. But the good thing is he's actually been training off and on over the last few weeks with the first team at Werder Bremen. So even if he doesn't play in the Bundesliga this year, he's still able to show the coaches at Werder and even some of those guys on the first team how good he is and what type of player he is, so that, you know, hopefully next season when he has a full off season under his belt and hopefully a U23 season under his belt as well, or half season, he can really impress in preseason and hope to gain a spot on that first team, even if Werder actually are in the Bundesliga or Bundesliga too. We'll see what happens. But, so that's exciting stuff with Josh Sargent, and it's something that, you know, we've been waiting kind of a long time for. So it's finally happening this week. Yeah, and we'll keep reporting on Josh Sargent in the future.
And now, heading into our final segment, you guys already know, Quick Kicks.
So you could test Dwayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
So if you haven't seen our last 2 episodes, Quick Kicks is basically the final segment of each of our shows. So we'll end with a performance or something that happened during the week with one of the players, and we'll just touch on it in a quicker fashion. So the first player we want to touch on this week is Nick Tadagui. So Nick finally made his return from injury after being out for 3 months with a back injury this weekend for Schalke's U19s against Dusseldorf's U19s. And they actually drew 1-1. He played about 60 minutes, I believe. So it was good to see him back on the field. Didn't have a goal or an assist, but again, it's just good to see him playing again, especially since he missed time over winter that he could have potentially played with the first team in mid-season training.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. At least, you know, now he's got some time left to, you know, like you mentioned, kind of jump back in to the U19s and start performing and regain that form that he once had.
Yeah, that's true. So then moving on to another Schalke player, and that would be Weston McKennie. So it was posted, I believe, it was a quote by Weston McKennie on Schalke's USA Twitter account that basically outlined that he should be back on the field within like the next 2 weeks or so. So that's, you know, something we can look forward to. Yeah, in the next.
And Schalke is probably excited as well.
Yeah, they could definitely use him now.
They're slipping a little bit
recently, so that's good, and we can't wait to see, you know, Weston back.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
And then another player we want to mention that's a little off the radar to many people.
Yeah.
But we figured we cover it. It's a big news. Another American abroad joining our little group here.
That's right.
And that is Brian Adams.
Yeah.
From UCLA. He was actually drafted by the Rapids, I believe, in the
third or fourth round.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that. So he actually went on trial with Legia Warsaw there in Poland, which is a top Polish team in a pretty average subpar league. But just to see him compete in a team that's always in the Champions League.
Seems to be, yeah.
Yes, always
they played against Dortmund last year.
Yeah.
Just to, you know,
not a great result, but
yeah, true, but still a good team.
Yeah, still a good team, and just
all the other teams he could have gone to.
Yeah, really. So I believe he's 22, around that age, and just to see him hopefully break into that first team and be consistently playing in the Champions League if they get there, that would be a great sign for him, and you know, maybe we'll be talking about him more in the future. Yeah. As a part of the U.S.
Shows that he's challenging himself too.
Yeah,
so
that's great. That's the mentality you want to see a lot of players too.
It's true.
Go for.
Yeah.
But you know, just to kind of end things off, I know you're really excited about this young prospect
very
guy,
excited.
PSG.
Yeah. So Tim Weah played in a PSG reserves match over the weekend and actually scored a goal. It was a nice through ball to him. He basically got in on goal and kind of kicked the ball, you know, around the keeper. Pretty basic goal, but it was a good goal, you know, on the break, and showed his skill and, you know, his ability to finish, which is what we need, you know, some of our strikers / wingers to do more often for us with the U.S. national team. But
and hopefully he can score some more goals like he did in the
U17 World Cup. That hat trick that he had. And the screamer in there. Yeah, it was nice. I'm really excited about him. He's someone that if you just get a chance to watch, you know, some highlight videos of him on YouTube, I think you'll be able to see right away the talent he has and the technique. And, you know, he's at a very good situation at PSG. Even if he may not break into that first team in the near future, he's still getting a lot of good coaching and good exposure.
Yeah,
to,
like you mentioned, great situation.
And stuff.
I've even heard rumors, potentially, don't quote me on this, but I think it was through Twitter or something or online, that PSG was actually looking to extend his contract.
Yeah, I did hear that too.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe that means if he's pushing for the first team or going on loan somewhere. But yeah, like you mentioned, I think he's in a really good place and excited to see where he goes from there, Austin.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eyes on him and keep reporting back to you guys. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe down below or even leave a comment. You know, we'd love to interact with you guys.
Yeah, and make sure
what you guys have to say.
Yeah, make sure to follow our new Instagram and Twitter
That's right,
accounts.
and Twitter,
so
yeah.
We got all that social media going. Make sure to tell your friends, family, anybody who's a huge soccer fan.
Yeah.
Wants to see the future of American soccer there.
That's right, yeah. And remember, guys, gotta remember, one day we will win the World Cup.
You heard it first here, guys. You heard it live.
You heard it here first.